All right, Ravens flock. What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. Well, I mean, it's like 12 in the morning, so everyone should be going to sleep. I have no idea when anyone's going to see this. I'm going to sleep after this, but Ravens flock, I just felt the need to talk about this, especially since I just finished live streaming the Bengals Browns game an hour ago. So this is something that's been on my mind for a little while now. Baltimore is in a really good position right now. Like, if you're a Ravens fan, you couldn't ask to be in a better position. Through 8 games of football, the Ravens currently have the divisional lead at 5-3. They're first place in the AFC North at 5-3. Right behind them is the Cincinnati Bengals, who lost tonight, so they dropped to 4-4. Then you have the Cleveland Browns, who are 3-5 on the season, and in last place in the AFC North, you have the 2-6 Pittsburgh Steelers. Baltimore is first place in the AFC North, and they have a 2-0 divisional record. The team that's seen as the biggest threat to them in terms of winning the division is the Cincinnati Bengals. This is important. With tonight's loss, they fall to 0-3 in the division. 0-3 in the division is huge. If Baltimore finishes with a 4-2 divisional record, there is no way Cincinnati wins this division via tiebreaker. Now, Cleveland is 2-1 in the division. We'll see if they can turn their season around. They're still 2 games under 500, but Cincinnati being 0-3 is vital. If you're a Ravens fan, you couldn't have asked for a better position. Today was great. You pick up Roquan Smith, one of the best linebackers in the game. You add that to your defense, and then you watch Cincinnati lose to Cleveland. Now they're 0-3 in the division. It's not about being 4-4. They're 0-3 in the division. That is huge. Baltimore is in prime position to win the AFC North. Now, we were in this situation last year, despite the fact that the team was suffering through so many major injuries, a lot of season-ending injuries with guys going out. It was terrible last year. Despite that, we were in a good position to win the AFC North. Unfortunately, Lamar Jackson went down, and that pretty much ended our season right there. We lost the division as the weeks went on. It is what it is. This year, we're right back in that situation. Right back at the same place, first place in the AFC North. Only this time, it's a bit different for the Ravens. We're not as injured, not nearly as injured as we were last year, and the injuries we have suffered, most of them are not season-ending injuries. They're injuries that's going to keep guys out for a couple weeks at most, or they're minor. So you're the Baltimore Ravens. You're first place in the AFC North. You have a 2-0 divisional record. The biggest challenge to you, at least according to everybody, in the Cincinnati Bengals, is 0-3 in the division. You just picked up a 2-time All-Pro linebacker in Roquan Smith to bolster your defense. You're going to get back Bowser. Ojabo's going to be activated as well. He may not play Monday night, but there's a great chance after the bye week he will play in that game. So you're going to add pieces there. Mark Andrews is fine. He's not perfect. He's still dealing with the injuries, but he's fine. It's nothing major. It's only minor. Rashad Bateman is going to be a little bit longer, but he will come back at some point. Gus Edwards, his is not severe. He may be able to even go against the Saints on Monday Night Football, so that's great. And even if he doesn't, they'll have the bye week to rest him, so he'll be 100% healthy by the time we see him in the next game. J.K. Dobbins at some point will return this season. So you got a bunch of guys that can return. Marcus Williams is also another person that can return this season. So Baltimore has a bunch of people that could be returning within the coming weeks. They're first in the AFC North. They have a Monday Night Football game, so they've had all this time to rest. The guys that are dealing with minor injuries that aren't too severe, that will keep them out of this game, they may be able to play. You're going to be able to activate Deshaun Jackson. The trade deadline is not until 4 p.m. tomorrow, so you may be able to even pick up a receiver if Baltimore's looking for it. Me personally, I'm not expecting them to trade for a receiver, but if it does happen, Ravens flock will be overjoyed because you picked up Roquan Smith. If you add a receiver like a Jerry Jeudy or something like that, hell, even a Brandon Cooks, you bring a receiver here, Ravens flock will be overjoyed. So you made a splash move before the trade deadline. You made a splash move. You're still first place in the division. You got a lot of players that will be coming back in the coming weeks. And you're first place while the biggest challenge to you is 0-3 in the division. Baltimore is in a prime position. And it makes it even better that after the Monday Night Football game, they're going to get a bye week. So you got all this time, this next week, to rest everybody. You play a week from today, Monday night. Well, now it's going to be, 6 days because it is Tuesday because it's past 12. But you're going to play in about a week. Monday Night Football. That gives you all this time to have you guys rest and get healthy. And the people that don't play on Monday night, you're going to have the bye week to rest them even more. So this team's going to be well rested. And if they can win that game against the Saints, they'll be 6-3, which is exactly where I predicted them to be heading into the bye. I have us going 12-5 on the season, winning the AFC North. So I had us at 6-3 heading into the bye. We're right where I believe we're supposed to be. You're adding pieces. The guys that got hurt early in the season will be coming back in the coming weeks. This is a prime position for Baltimore. You couldn't ask for a better situation. Now, it's great to talk about this now, but we're only about halfway through the season. We have 9 games left to play. And it could go up for Baltimore or it can go down. Throughout these first 8 games, we had the third toughest record in the NFL. Not even the toughest record. The third toughest schedule to go against in the league. So with the third toughest schedule, you went 5-3. Could have been better. Probably should have been 8-0. But we're not here to think about the past. It is what it is. You blew those leads. Move on. Learn from them. So you went up against the third toughest schedule. Now for these final 9 games, according to the records or via the records we see, you're going to be going up against the third worst, thereby being the third easiest schedule in the NFL. Meanwhile, you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, they still have to take on the Buffalo Bills. They still have to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. They still got 3 more matchups with the AFC North opponents, so they still have to go up against Baltimore and Cleveland. Luckily for them, it will be in Cincinnati, but the Steelers game will be in Pittsburgh, so we'll see what happens there. They still have to take on the Titans, which means they're going to have to deal with Derrick Henry, and if you saw how Cincinnati's defense played against Nick Chubb, I have no idea how they're going to stop Derrick Henry, so Cincy could be in serious trouble, which means this is a huge boost for Baltimore. Baltimore's going to have to take advantages. Monday night against the Saints, don't think it's going to be an easy game because the Saints, they're finding ways to win, and they're just making plays, man. The way they destroyed the Raiders, that was something different. Saints are finding ways to win games, and we're going to be on the road again. So I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Baltimore, but if they can find a way to win and go to 6-3, they'll be in the perfect position to win this division and maybe even go farther. Like I said, as of right now, Baltimore is not a Super Bowl contending team. But here's the thing. A lot of people sit back and hear me say this and say, oh, you don't trust the Ravens? You're not a true Ravens fan if you don't think they're a Super Bowl contending team. No, I'm making sure to specify this. As of right now, Baltimore is not a Super Bowl contending team. But that does not mean they can't become one. Because at the end of the day, you have plenty of football left. You saw they made a move in getting Roquan Smith. They're getting healthier players back. And obviously they can make improvements in the offense as they add pieces there, potentially. So they could very well turn into it. As long as they're a Super Bowl contending team by the end of the season, it's not going to matter that right now they're not viewed as that. You're a 5-3 football team. There's been better performing teams in the league right now. The Bills, the Eagles, those type of teams are considered Super Bowl contending teams. We're at the cusp of that. I think we're a playoff team, but a Super Bowl contending team, as of right now, no. But that does not mean we can't turn into it. And the only way we can do that is by making the right moves and getting back to playing winning football, but most importantly, getting back to playing consistent winning football. Because with that win against the Buccaneers, that became our first winning streak. Because it's been win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. And then, we won these last 2 games, so we're on a winning streak. We have to be consistently playing winning football. And these last games will determine whether or not they can do that. Now, you have to add pieces and improve your offensive defense, which they're doing, so we'll see how that progresses as the season goes on. As of right now, they're not a Super Bowl contending team. But if they play their cards right and they continue to improve and they get back those players that they're injured right now, they can become the Super Bowl contending team that we've all hoped for them to be. And by the time they get to the playoffs, they could be a legitimate threat, and we can sit back and talk about them in January and say, this team can go the distance. There's 9 games left for Baltimore. They're in a prime position, first place in the AFC North. They've got that distance now that Cincinnati's lost their game to Cleveland. That Cincy team's 0-3 in the division. That's even better for Baltimore. So you're in a good place to win the division. You're going to get a bunch of players back this week. You're expected to get even more players back as the weeks come up. And you're going to have the time to rest because, again, you have all this week to rest. You played on Thursday, so you have the weekend to rest. And then you have all this week to rest. And then you're going to play on Monday night. And then you're going to get a bye week to rest even more. So anybody that's dealing with any minor injuries, they'll have the time to rest. Baltimore cannot afford to screw this up. This is a prime situation for them. The division is practically theirs for the taking. As long as they can be consistent, they can win this division with no problem. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of work that goes into it, but they're in a prime position. If you're a Ravens fan, you have to at least be happy with where the team is right now in terms of making the playoffs. Now, of course, we want to see an extra move or two to make them that Super Bowl team. Of course, Ravens Flock's been begging for them to get that receiver for Lamar Jackson, that proven receiver. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. We don't know. But Ravens are continuing to make moves. We're continuing to get players back. We'll see what happens. Obviously, OBJ is still there. Maybe the Ravens sign him, maybe they don't. I don't know. But if the Ravens could continue to be consistent offensively and defensively for 4 quarters, that they continue to consistently win football games, and that they can get back their players all healthy by the time January rolls around, they could very well be first in the AFC North, win the division, they'll be in the playoffs, and then they can be a legitimate threat. Who knows? But right now, Baltimore is in prime position to be exactly where they want to be. If they can win on Monday night, we're exactly where I place us. If they go into the bye week at 6-3, I have no problems. Yeah, I'm still mad about those blown leads because we could have been better than what I expected. But being 6-3 is what I expected heading into the bye week. I would love for us to be 9-0 because that means we exceeded my expectations. Unfortunately, that's not the case. If they go into the bye week 6-3, you've reached my expectations and you can only go higher, hopefully. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this. Baltimore can afford to screw this up. They're in a really good position to win this division. You know, Pittsburgh is continuing to fall into the abyss. They're 2-6. Cleveland is trying to survive until they get Deshaun Watson back. And Cincinnati right now is treading in the wrong direction. They won their last couple of games, but they're treading in the wrong direction. And it's only gotten worse for them because they've lost Ja'Marr Chase, which is bad because their schedule is getting harder. So we have no clue. They said 4 to 6 weeks, I believe, for Ja'Marr Chase. That could be too late. Maybe I think that makes him, he may be able to make that Chiefs game. I don't know, but 4 to 6 weeks without Ja'Marr Chase is going to hurt. And we saw that tonight. I just don't know what you're going to do if you're Cincinnati. You're going to have to step it up big. 0-3 in the division puts you at serious risk to not win this division. And considering how things are going right now in the AFC with the Dolphins and the Jets with the way they're set, and the Chargers as well, there's a good chance Cincinnati could miss the playoffs. So they're going to have to get themselves together. However, it's still a long season ahead. We're 8 games in. We got 9 games left. Anything can happen, but Baltimore controls their destiny right now. It's time to see what they can do. Get it done, Baltimore. Get it done on Monday night. Go to 6-3. Hopefully you make a trade for another player before the trade deadline tomorrow. We'll see. And get your players back healthy in the coming weeks, and you will be a legitimate contender. You'll be a formidable foe, and we'll see if we can win this division and head into January with a home playoff game. We'll see what happens there. Hey, as long as you get to the tournament, you have a chance to get to the championship game, and we'll see what Baltimore is made of by the time January comes around. Anyway, that's all I got to talk about. Ravens on top of the AFC North. They control their own destiny. We'll see how they perform in the coming weeks. With that being said, that is all I've got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.